In this video, I'm going to show you how to productize a service startup using AI agents because it's actually the easiest way to productize any service or start your startup as a service and then eventually get to the point where you productize using AI so you can reach scale. This is especially good for investors because you've proven that you can put out a service and then now you're using AI, which is the trendy hot thing right now, to say we're going to go to scale after we've proven our business model. Now, let me just clarify. There are two ways to approach this. Either you're already a services company, so you're doing consulting, coaching, you're an agency, you're doing something manual, trading dollars for hours, and you've already got things figured out in terms of what you're offering. Or you're a startup and you say, instead of having to build an MVP, something technical, we're going to start off as a manual service, make money, get in front of our customers, learn before we start to build anything else with the future of building using AI in mind. So those are the two pathways that you want to consider when looking at this model, this method that I've done multiple times and I'm doing to this very day right now, and I'm going to show you in this video. Before we continue, my name is Ed Kang. And if we've met before, nice to have you back. Just skip using the chapter markers to the good part of the video. I've made it as easy as possible for you. If we haven't met before, I'm a 7-time funded founder with 2 exits, and that's just a fancy way of saying I've failed a bunch of times because I like to use this channel and these YouTube videos for your benefit. I'm going to try to help you avoid some of the catastrophic mistakes that I've made during my career as a startup founder. Not to say you're not going to make mistakes, but I'm going to try to make your life a little bit easier because it's tough enough as it is. I'm also the Chief Strategy Officer for startups.com. We help hundreds of founders there. If you haven't checked this out yet, go ahead, easy URL to remember, startups.com, a lot of free resources there. If you're already part of startups.com, thank you so much for being part of the community. Appreciate your participation. We love your support. And while everybody's here, do the YouTube thing, like, comment, subscribe, always extremely helpful. Let's get into how to productize a service startup using AI agents. As a quick demo, check out what we recently launched here at startups.com. We have our own AI product that's helping founders match with other founders or other members, other service providers, consultants, advisors, potential co-founders, and even investors. I put in a simple description here. I'm looking for a potential technical co-founder for my B2B startup in the healthcare data analytics industry. They should have front-end and back-end skills and hardware skills is helpful. Experience with their own healthcare startup is preferred. And I put the skills that I want in healthcare data analytics. I'll go anywhere global, and I'm just going to press create, process, and search, and then it's going to start working away for me right there. Notice how everything is ticking along, and there's something important that you're watching here that's going to be crucial to productization, and that's looking at the process, seeing that it's actually working in front of you, which is a neat little trick that AI can do these days depending on how you design your interface. So take a look. This is the first match. It's a 100% match, and you can see my query on the left-hand side. I can click for an intro. I can send them a message. I can save it, and then I can keep moving along and seeing my next match is another 100%. My next match after that is going to be 84%, and I can start to read all the profile, what they have in our system. This is all generated by AI. LLMs are creating the base layer, the model in which you can access using APIs, and there are so many different combinations of AI agents that you can put together to make this work. But how we got up to this point in time, that's what's important to understand. And I'm going to break down the process for you because you're going to be able to do this from scratch, from a service, eventually getting to the point where you have an AI product. Let's start off with our model. This is your services-based cycle for every industry. It does not matter what you are selling, whether you start off as a service or whether you have a product, you can create a service layer or deliver your product with services in mind to fit this model and eventually get to AI. You are going to be looking for a proven service. That means that you can prove that you can solve a customer's problem reliably over and over again. It is proven. You have evidence. If it's just in your mind and you think, well, it might work and you haven't tested it out yet, you need to go out and test it. This is part of problem solution fit. Go out and prove that you can solve the problem with your solution. Next, it has to be somewhat proprietary. I'm not saying you need to have a patent or that nobody else can do it. It's not like your KFC special 12 herbs and spices recipe or Coca-Cola. I'm saying that it has to be unique to you enough that sets you apart from the competition. It has to have a competitive advantage, a competitive mode, some type of defensibility. I don't know what it is. It might even just be your brand is so differentiated. There has to be some type of special sauce so that when customers say, well, what about this company? You can say, here's how we do it different. That's what it means to be proprietary, because that's what's going to set you apart when you eventually get to AI, that your AI just isn't like everybody else. Nobody can copy you. Finally, it needs to be a process. The process has to be the ABC 1, 2, 3, and you must have a standard operating procedure. I like to say anything that's done with more than 3 steps, more than 3 times, with more than 3 people, absolutely critically needs an SOP. And you must be able to write it down onto a whiteboard or a piece of paper. It has to be clear, because that's what you're going to use as the basis of your AI rules when you create your agent. Now, how do you know it's a proven proprietary process? Well, you're able to deliver it reliably 80% of the time. 80% of the time, you use the exact same process, you use the exact same proprietary knowledge or whatever advantage that you have, and it's proven 80% of the time. Quick kudos and credit where credit is due. This was taught to me by Ryan Rattan, Chief Marketing Officer at startups.com. He says that if you can figure out the proven proprietary process, you will not have to do the 4th P, which is pivot all the time. Now, what's great about starting a startup as a service, as Ryan explains, is that you can change your manual process on a dime versus trying to code an MVP, some type of technical solution, a little product. And then if you want to make changes, well, there's going to be expenses and time, because while coding is amazing for scalability, creating something and fixing it in code, that can be difficult to change, especially in the early stages of your startup. Therefore, you want to keep doing micro pivots, iterations quickly until you get to that 80% proven proprietary process. Thanks, Ryan. Once you've got this on lock, there are 4 stages of the business cycle that you're going to go through as a company. The first stage is going to be your proposition. This is the proposition stage, and you're going to see a lot of P's because we like our alliteration over here. We're all marketing people at heart, but proposition is the first stage of your startup, whether it's service-based or whether you're starting with any type of product out there. Doesn't matter. You are going to have to put out a proposition to your customers. And this relies on your unique value proposition, or UVP for short. Now, if you've done things correctly up to this point in time and you have a proven proprietary process, by the way, if you want to challenge yourself, try to say that 5 times really fast. Proven proprietary process. Yeah, that's not going to work. You will be able to put your unique value proposition together much easier because it's already proven, and you're unique because it's proprietary and it's a process. You can explain what the product is. And Ryan Rattan at startups.com always says it's easier to sell a product when you name something a product, because if you're selling services and say, hey, we do this for $50 an hour, they're going to be thinking $50 an hour, not your UVP, not your value proposition or what value that they get. That's the reason this is so powerful, and it's going to get you to the point where you can sell your service much easier, or you can sell your startup much easier. After your unique value proposition, you're going to get into prospecting. And this is very simple. It's all about getting customers. And so many startups get hung up and they can't get customers because they don't have their UVP in line. They don't know that it works. They haven't tested it yet. So if you have a problem getting prospects, no customers are coming into your funnel, into the potential of doing business with you, then go back and revisit your unique value proposition. But once again, if you already have a proven proprietary process, you already know how to get customers. You already know how to talk to them, what their pain points are, exact timing on when they're ready to entertain your type of service. It just gets so much easier from there, and that's the reason this is a cycle, and we want you to start at step 1 and move and build everything on top of it. Next is the purchasing stage. This is when your customers have bought from you and you want to keep them loyal and satisfied and keep them purchasing from you. The average business loses 50% of their customers every single year. In startups, we call that churn. And churn happens at a much greater rate if you're using AI. There's such a thing as AI tourism, where people come in and say, this is novel, let me try it once, and they're never going to try it again. If all you did was reduce your churn, it's the same as getting customers, because guess what? In most cases, new customers are 5 times more expensive to get than keeping current customers. So if you can figure out how to keep them purchasing, maybe at a higher frequency or higher amounts through the year, well, you're going to be winning. You'll be so much more profitable. That's why at this stage in purchasing, you have to deliver satisfaction. You must figure out how to deliver in a way that keeps customers satisfied, and then you can start layering on your AI agents. The last stage, if you've done everything properly, you've gone through proposition, your unique value proposition is getting you customers. customers. You're prospecting really well and they're buying from you. And not only that, they keep buying from you because they're loyal, because you're delivering the satisfaction. You will get proactive customers. These are customers who will be proactive to stay loyal to your brand, help you out, but they'll also give you referrals. And what I love about this is a referral is relatively free compared to spending all this money to go out and prospect again. If you can get one customer to turn into 3 customers, that's organic growth. And guess what? Investors love it. And I'm going to show you how to use AI to get to that point where you've got current customers who are so happy, they basically own your brand. They take over, they identify with you, and they start sharing you with everybody out there. That's where you want to be. But think about this for a moment. This is why you want to productize. Imagine you're sitting with your friends and you're talking to them and they say, I really need help. And you say, well, I want to refer my friend who's a consultant. I've been working with them and the results have been great. They're going to ask, well, how did you contract them and how do you pay them? Well, this consultant charges me $200, $300 an hour. And they're going to be thinking, wait a second, even though it might totally be worth a value, it's worth it. They're going to say $200, $300 an hour. And they're going to ask questions like, how many hours did you work with them? How much money do you have up front? It can become so difficult. It especially gets worse when you, as a service provider, you want to start charging more money per hour or you want to increase your profitability. For example, I charge $800 an hour. That's my standard going rate. Imagine having to refer that and explain that out there. But let's say you're a founder and you're talking to another founder and you say, yeah, actually, I'm part of startups.com and I pay $200 a month for my membership. And it's a community. I get to go to workshops and I get advisory. Ed is there. He answers my questions. And then we have all these resources online. Explaining that is way different than having to explain and justify why you paid me $800 an hour to help you with your startup. Even if I went out and helped you raise $500,000 or $1 million, that's going to be totally worth it. It's just the psychology of it. It gets a lot more difficult to go out and refer something that's a service versus a product. Let's say you're giving out pool cleaning services. Instead of saying, yeah, use my pool guy, he charges you $50 an hour, it takes about 2 hours every single week. You can say, yeah, here's my pool guy, he's got this maintenance package. It's basically $300 a month, no muss, unlimited cleaning, it's done. The point is, it is so much easier to have a product-based conversation when people are trying to refer, when customers are trying to refer you versus a service-based conversation. But also remember, start off as a service if you're a startup, because at least you can get out there and you can start generating that revenue, but call it a product. Call it the same product that you would have with your startup, just delivered in a manual service. You get the benefits of both. Now you're wondering, all right, Ed, this is really great, but where does the AI come in? At the first stage, you are going to AI your 3 Ps. If you don't know how to do this, ask AI. That's the crazy part of what's going on with AI these days. You can literally ask, how do I use you for something specific? Let's use your proven proprietary process. And let's use me as an example. I've told ChatGPT, this is what I do. Here's my process. Here's how it's proprietary. And I put in all my proprietary information. And I say, this is the output. And these are the usual results that I get. How can I create an AI agent using you, ChatGPT, to make this automated, to smooth out the friction, make it a little faster or make it more efficient? Give me some ideas. Now remember, you're used to delivering this consistently at 80% of the time. So you may deliver a service that takes 5 days to deliver, but you're selling it as a package. You call it whatever, the makeover or the audit for your strategy, whatever you want to do. Now you know it's 5 days and you're going to keep charging that. Let's say AI has been able to help you get that down to 3 days. You can still charge the 5 days. So the first step that you want to do is ask AI how to use AI to deliver a proven proprietary process that you have figured out you're delivering 80% of the time. And ChatGPTs are great because you can create custom GPTs. There are so many other services out there to create widgets to make your life easier. That's the rage. Take advantage of them. Now that we've done that, we're going to get into prospecting. And what you want to do is create an AI intake. Let me give you a little bit of a secret. People during the prospecting phase would rather intake themselves, onboard themselves, or assess themselves. That's the reason assessments are so popular. They don't want to sit in front of a salesperson and feel that pressure of being sold to. If you can just say, hey, answer a bunch of questions and we'll send you an assessment, a recommendation of where you can go. That's the power of AI. And I'm doing this left, right, and center. I have this proven proprietary process where I ask 45 questions to give analysis. And I had to do this manually. Well, guess what? Now I've got an agent that does that. And I don't even have to do it myself. I've got an assistant. I've got staff that are managing all the AI agents. I ask the same 45 questions and I run it through the AI, trained on what I know, my proprietary process, and it spits out an intake, it spits out analysis, and it spits out the plan and gets everybody going. I've done this across multiple startups, all my ventures in my portfolio. I'm using AI to intake and onboard as part of prospecting. And the coolest part is it doesn't take more of my time, so I can offer it for free. It's a risk reversal. There's no risk in you taking my assessment and finding out for yourself whether you need my product or service or not. You get value out of it as a prospect, and that just makes my life so much easier. Now I can focus on closing deals or delivering better service. I don't sit back and say, hey, guess what? AI has reduced 90% of my time, so now 10% of my time I can just work on it, and 90% of my time I just lay back and twiddle my thumbs or play video games. No, I spend the other 90% of my time that I now have surplus into improving my product and being so much better, out hustling, out executing my competition. So figure out how to create an AI agent for intake. It doesn't have to be customer facing either. You can still do it manually, use a jot form, or figure out how they can answer a survey monkey, and you can process all that information and just send it to them manually, cut and paste. But you're using AI during the intake, the onboarding process, some type of assessment to help recommend to customers how to use your product. Now that they're purchasing and you're delivering satisfaction, focus on customer satisfaction, you can start to figure out how to upsell and cross-sell using AI. And the first step is to ask AI, what other services can we add? Or how can we extend this? How can we add another product bolted on, such as a community or some type of membership, some repeat reward system for them to continue purchasing from you? Back in the day when my family owned video store franchises, it was really simple. And this is going to date me when we actually rented out VHS cassettes before DVD. That's how old I am. But I was running video stores. And we did a really simple thing where we just had a little punch card and it was rent 9, get your 10th one free. And we just punched it in there or we signed off on it. And that was so simple. That was the low tech way. If I could do that with low tech, think about what I can do with current tech right now in tracking people and saying, hey, you get a discount, watching people and their customer service queries and their usage and figuring out when to reward them. Beyond that, there are so many cool things where you can use technology to add on more products. Maybe a regular meet and greet or a lunch and learn on Zoom. You can automate text messages that are constantly putting out customer service messages, but then adding more value to their lives. There are digital rewards, tokens, different types of certificates. You can give them access to different parts of your website or different parts of other people's websites, affiliate codes. There are so many possibilities right there, but you're going to use AI to figure out how to sell them and upsell and cross-sell all the way through. Now, if you want to get really fancy, create another AI that you can cross-sell and upsell. That's what I did. Once they did my initial AI process, they went through that intake. I say, I've got another AI agent. And by the way, I'm explaining it to everybody. I'm not hiding it. I tell people all the time that I have trained AI agents to be able to get you better service faster. That's part of customer satisfaction. I explain to people what would normally take me a week to analyze, I can now analyze within 24 hours. I'm still going to look at it for quality control. Everybody wants to know a human is at the wheel, but I'm using AI to upsell and cross-sell into other products, and it's working great. Again, more leverage of my time. It's highly recommended. As you start to work with the AI, these ideas will become apparent for you, and you'll start to add more and more. And eventually, who knows? Maybe your company doesn't have to be one single unified software. Maybe it's a service where people are running 10 different AI agents, and you don't have to worry about building anything yourself. You're just hacking AI agents away, and the service becomes so efficient and you're so profitable, you don't have to worry about becoming any other type of startup. You're just going to go along and build your own unicorn, YO unicorn, based on what is wealth, what is healthy, what you want your lifestyle for you. Not to mention, you might not even need investors. Finally, you're going to get to the referrals where you're going to use AI to ask. And this is a little bit abstract. You want to be asking your AI, when is a good time for referrals based upon all this information, all this data? You're basically going to create an AI digital twin of the customer service value lifecycle. And you're going to feed it information and say, hey, this is where we think people are getting satisfied or where testimonials come from. Read your testimonials and you'll know when to ask for them. Maybe there's a specific time that they send you praise and they say, I can't believe this. You're going to feed that into AI and you're going to learn, and then you're going to filter those moments and pepper in those messages and say, hey, we really appreciate this referral that you could give us. I always like to say the highest compliment that you can give us is a referral. Not to mention, if you get really good at this, and by now you've got so many AI agents working for you, you can create an AI agent to trigger a referral mechanism where it goes out, sends a message, and asks for that referral at that particular time, and customizes the message based upon their testimonial or their buying history. As you can see, there are so many ways that you can build AI agents into it, but if you do this correctly, eventually proactive referrals build up your unique value proposition, because you can say 3 billion served like McDonald's. It's actually more than that, but you can say these customers have been satisfied. Put that social proof out there and learn how to hone your unique value proposition, because everything goes back into your proven proprietary process. Maybe you get to the point where something starts to break and you can start to refine it, or let's say you get up to a 90% delivery in terms of satisfaction and consistency. Well, you're just trekking along, you can measure it. And that unique value proposition leads to more prospecting, more customers who are purchasing, they're satisfied, and they start referring to other people because they're so satisfied, which creates more proposition, prospecting, purchasing, and the cycle goes on. It's the circle of life in your startup, and it doesn't get any better. Let me know if you have any questions, or I want to hear in the comments how you're implementing some of these ideas. Let's learn from each other. And if you're part of startups.com, well, I'm here for you. We're going to work every step through, and I'll show you how I've done it myself. We can have tutorials. I can do workshops for you. Just let me know. I hope this is helpful. Thanks for hanging out with me in this video. Watch some of the other videos that I put on the screen that'll be relevant to you. Appreciate your time. I'll see you in the next video.